This is Initiation into Hermetics by Franz Bardon. Some people love it, some people hate it. Let's find out why. Now, this edition was published by Merkur Publishing in 2007. Bardon actually wrote this in the 1950s, but, he wrote it in German. It took about 50 years for someone to translate it into English. I have a lot to say about this book, which I'm going to try to condense. First, the word Hermetics is a bit of a misnomer. The original title was in German, and sorry, I don't speak German, but I'm going to try anyway. Der Weg zum wahren Adepten, which translates to something like the path to becoming a true adept. And that's probably a much more fitting title. But from what I understand, the publisher at the time may have thought that the word Hermetics was going to sell more copies, so they used that instead, much to the chagrin of folks who will tell you that Hermetics is a totally separate tradition. And for that reason, sometimes we call this system by the name Bardonics to differentiate the two. Now, this book has had a very interesting journey. Within the past decade, copies became scarce, and you'd see it listing on Amazon for up to $500. I actually have a fun story about that, but I'll save it for another time. Thankfully, the book has been reprinted, so the price is about what you'd expect. Okay, so the first thing you might notice is the cover. This is Bardon's version of a tarot card, Trump number 1, the Magician. Now, it doesn't look like any tarot card I've ever seen before, but if you understand the imagery here, then you'll understand a lot about Bardon's magical system. At the bottom, you have two polarities, male and female. Above them, you have the sphere of the earth, and then someone just slightly above that in violet color, that's the magician. On top of the magician's head is the lotus flower. Inside the lotus flower is a red philosopher's stone. Now, these colored rays of light streaming out of the lotus flower are earth in yellow, water in green, fire in red, and air in blue. Yeah, that's pretty different from our normal elemental correspondence colors that you would typically see in modern witchcraft. And at the very top, you have the sun and the moon, and this picture in the middle here is supposed to represent the divine act of creation. Okay, now let me crack it and kind of show you a little bit of what's inside. This, of course, is a picture of Franz Bardon here. And when we get to the table of contents, you will see that it is broken up into a couple of parts. The first part, Initiation 1, is theory-based. And this is where you learn basically everything that Franz Bardon believed about the energetic makeup of the universe, from elemental theory to deity. And then in the second section, which is called Initiation 2, this is where the work begins. There are 10 sections here. Goes up to step 10, and then the book pretty much ends. And some people would treat that as 10 degrees of initiation. Each of them is divided up into at least 3 more sections. 1 on the magical schooling of the spirit, 1 on the magical schooling of the soul, and 1 on the magical schooling of the physical body. And sometimes those are even broken down further into more subsections. Now, these are very structured, very regimental lessons, and they do take a lot of time. I think by Bardon's standards, it would be reasonable for you to go through all of them within a year at minimum. Although for some people, it might take longer. He mentions several times that you must go in order and that subsequent lessons will be of no value to you, even dangerous to you, if you have not mastered the previous skill. All right, so what type of work are we talking about? Now, this is everything from learning to control your thoughts all the way to entering the elemental realms. Some of the exercises, however, I find a little impractical, like this one in particular. In the morning, immediately after rising, brush yourself with a soft, natural brush until your skin becomes slightly pinkish. This will open your pores and allow them to breathe better. Through this, for the greater part, your kidneys are relieved. After this, wash your entire body, or at least your upper body, with cold water. No, thank you. Do that every day for the rest of your life. I'm sorry, but I hate cold showers, and if that is the price for magic, I'm not willing to pay it. But in those instances, I try to just understand the underlying concepts of what Bardon was trying to teach. There is other work in the book that focuses on meditation and visualization, and I find that these exercises are invaluable, especially to people who struggle with getting started, or to folks who might have a pretty decent grasp on things, but don't know how to take it to the next level. If that sounds like you, then this might be a great book for you to read. It also gives great instructions on fluid condensers. Here's the preparation of a simple fluid condenser here, as well as some magical tools like how to make and use a magic mirror. Preparation of magic mirrors. I think some of my favorite parts of this book are where Bardon talks about astral travel and entering the elemental realms to interact with different beings. There's a lot of mysticism in this book. Some stuff is really just far out, man, but it's fun. And it is reasonably sized. Here's the drop test. Pretty standard. Keep in mind that this is one book of a 3-part trilogy. So in order to be introduced to Bardon's complete magical system, you will also need to read The Practice of Magical Evocation and the third book, The Key to the True Kabbalah. All in all, I think this is a great book. Despite some of the more ridiculous exercises, it is still one of my favorites, and I do highly recommend it. I'll put a link in the description for you to grab a copy of your own, and then you can come back here and tell me what you think.